ones, and you want it all to work out well, and you love the compassion that's being shown by the residents of Gander. I kind of felt, I want to go to Gander. I want to meet these lovely people.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Because the thing is, nobody knew what was happening initially, did they?
No, they
Because
didn't.
The planes just turned up out of the blue,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Well, they were. I mean, there was a school teacher, there was a policeman doing his speed trap testing, and then someone said to him, turn on the radio, and then they suddenly realised all these planes were coming in. But there was about 38, 39 planes on this runway. Because the runway hadn't been used for some time, if they hadn't have gone back in the air when they had, they were so heavy they were sinking into the tarmac, wasn't
Wow.
it?
Yeah. It's
It's absolutely,
Yeah.
and because it's a true story, and there's romance in there, there's upset.
Because
there's-
somebody married somebody from Gander, didn't they? Somebody ended up getting
that's
married.
right, and they go back there for a honeymoon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one spoiler.
Oh.
And the band was superb. Now I've got to say, the band did remind me of Once. Now, I might be wrong, but in my head, the way the music was, because it had that sort of Irish tinge.
there was a bit of an Irish lilt to it, and that sort of slightly folk music sound to it as well. Yeah.
And they loved. I mean, you could see even the band. Everyone seemed to love being in this show. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But you're right. There's hardly anything on the stage. I sat there and I thought, well, I paid this amount of money. Sure, there should be some. But that's all you needed, because the actors did all the work. I mean, even down there was a set of chairs, and they're on the plane, and they're talking on the plane, and then there was crazy characters on the plane, but you could believe they're on the plane, and the movements when they moved from one side to the other, they were spot on.
It's there's no one star in the show, is
No.
there? I mean, the pilot is probably gets a little bit more than some of the others, but for me, the star of the show is the ensemble. The fact that they work so well together, it's a real ensemble piece. And I guess that however long it lasts on the West End, at some stage it's going to be made available, and I think it's an absolute gift for amateur theatre companies, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what we spoke about.
Yeah.
We went with 80 amateur actors and stage crew, and we came out and said, when that becomes on the circuit, everyone's going to grab that.
The
with
people are
both
going to
hands.
grab it with
wanna do
both
it,
hands, yeah.
And
But
I've got.
you absolutely have to have a really strong acting company
Yes.
to do it,
Yeah.
and you can't have any weak
No-
links
no
in,
weak
that,
links
in
at
the
all.
ensemble at all.
No.
So
You'd have to bring the sort of the creme de la creme in.
Yeah,
And what was the other thing that's interesting is we got a family member called Fiona Richard, and Fiona's relatives, ancestors, came from Newfoundland,
Oh, wow.
and they went over there, and to become an honorary Newfoundlander,
yeah.
you had to do something, didn't you? Can you remember what it was?
No.
I think does it involve a dead animal?
No, it involves a fish.
A fish.
A
Okay,
fish.
yes.
You had to drink something, I think it was called scooch, was the local drink, and you had to kiss this fish to become an honorary Newfoundlander.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, my goodness. I didn't know
It
that.
appears in one of the scenes in the show.
Oh, brilliant.
And it sort of brought it home even more because of the fact that Fiona and Richard had gone over to Newfoundland.
Yes, yeah.
And they had to kiss the fish and eat,
Oh,
eat the
wow.
stuff. And the other thing that was quite
Fantastic.
interesting was I think it was egg and cheese. I think was one of the dishes over there.
I don't remember that. But,
So you didn't pay much attention, did you, when you was watching? So you got engrossed, but didn't get engrossed in the drink, kissing the fish, or having the food.
Because they had some people from Gander, didn't they?
they
at the
did.
press
That
night.
came over to press night.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is lovely for them to be
Yes.
part and parcel of
Yeah.
it, opening over here in London.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing that was fascinating for me, very selfishly, you wish you was on one of those planes.
Yes.
That's what I felt.
Wow.
I was on one
To
of those
be
planes.
part of it.
To be part of
Yeah.
that.
whole sense of community
Yeah.
and pulling together. It's interesting. I was reading some of the reviews that appeared after press night in the national press, and by and large, 5-star reviews. But a couple of the major papers only gave it 3 stars. And I thought, really? And I read the reviews, and they were saying that they thought it was great, but it was all too nice. That everybody was so accepting and kind and compassionate, and they wanted a bit more grit. And I thought, what actually
Oh, my goodness.
appeals about this show, the real heart of it, is that it just shows human
That makes
kindness
such a nice
at its best.
change.
Yeah, and particularly in the current time.
Yeah.
That actually see humans loving and caring for each other and going out of their way and being kind and compassionate and loving is
And
everything.
going back again.
Yeah,
Yes.
is absolutely what we need. And I thought that was its real heart.
couple of things to look out for is when they come back and talk about the comments in the suggestion box, because they asked the passengers to make comments in the suggestion box. The ending is very, very good, because that made me cry. And it takes a lot to make me cry. Even the chairs so uncomfortable didn't make me cry. But that and standing up at when the show had finished, totally finished, everyone on where we was in the dress circle, and I'm sure down on the stalls and above us, everyone stood up. It was just instantaneous. There was no sort of wave like a sort of Mexican wave. Yeah. Everyone stood up at the same time. And to me, that was credit. And what was even better was the cast looked up and they were...
Acknowledged
humbled.
everyone. Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. So
fabulous.
Come From Away, Phoenix
Theatre
Theatre.
in London's West End.
Definitely on my list.
And
seeing Company on Monday, by the way.
Which I saw last weekend.
Oh, I'm
There we
looking
go.
forward to it.
We'll have a talk about Company in just a minute, and also what's happening on the amateur circuit for this
Some
week.
great shows coming up
Yes,
in the next
definitely.
2 or 3 weeks.
And that's coming next.
Get in touch. Email curtaincallfm@gmail.com. Round the Table, the talk show podcast of Curtain Call FM.
Hello, welcome back to Around the Table. It's our podcast for Curtain Call FM with me, Mark Bilsby, Julia Ruffy and Alistair Woodgate. And if you were tuned in just before the break, you'll realise Julia dropped a little bit of a bombshell to say that she's going to see Company on Monday.
Yes, I can't wait. It was my birthday present from my husband.
Oh,
so,
many happy returns.
Yeah.
Yes, happy return.
I can't wait to see it.
And I went to see it last week.
So should I be right to be excited about seeing it?
I think it's a show well worth seeing.
Yeah.
Those of you that know Company, it's about Bobby reaching his 35th birthday, and all of his sort of partnered couples, friends, are concerned as to why Bobby hasn't got hitched. Now, as it was written, Bobby is a male, but in this production, we've got a role reversal, so Bobby is female. And there are one or two other characters within the ensemble who have had a gender reversal. And so it was very interesting to go and see how this plays. I have to say that at no stage did I question why Bobby was female. It flowed very naturally and seemed absolutely right to be written this way round, knowing it the other way round.
Yeah.
the way
You
it
see,
was written.
somebody said to me that if you didn't know the show at all, you would assume it had been written that way round.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't feel uneasy about that at all.
Yeah.
It's very, very well performed. There's some great moments. I did have one or two issues with it, and maybe I'm the exception to the rule here, because certainly my friends that have been to see it have just been raving about the production. I have to say, it was brilliant. But for me, if I had any issues, Bobby... Now, Rosalie Craig, who plays Bobby, was actually off, and I had the good fortune of seeing Jennifer Sayang, who's the understudy. And even with Jennifer playing it, I think for one of the first times, there was a very, very much a self-assuredness of Bobby that came across. And I thought, well, if that was Rosalie Craig playing it, who's kind of got into the role, such a self-assured Bobby, I'm not sure would actually need the advice of any friends or would look to any of the friends for advice and wouldn't be worried whether they were single or partnered. And that kind of bothered me, because I kind of thought, actually...
Well, that's the whole crux of the original
Bobby
show, isn't it? He's not sure who he is. Or...
Whereas in this, I felt that the way that Bobby was being portrayed, they were so self-assured, so comfortable in who they were. Actually, there was nothing to have any angst or concern or issue over. And the other thing, the set is very interesting. It's a series of living room scenes, apartment scenes, and everything is painted grey. And it's very, very stylised. But I had no sense whatsoever that this was set in New York. It looked a little bit more like a Persimmon or Taylor Wimpey brand new house, sort of show house. Yeah.
So frightfully British, really.
To me, it was a bit cold and a bit British and didn't have that New York feel.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. The role reversals elsewhere in the show, the gay couple, I thought brilliant, really, really well portrayed. There's a scene in the wedding song, Bless This Day, the vicar who comes in and sings, what a stunning voice. But for a show where they're trying to sort of create realism in other scenes, there's a couple of sequences in that didn't quite work for me. And the set at sometimes was a little bit cumbersome, so when you get to Side by Side, the opening of Act 2, the set is so far forward that the company is forced into a very small space for a number that becomes basically how to rearrange chairs and tables in as many ways as you can.
Because that's really a big production number, isn't it?
And what I found was that they were so engrossed in changing the patterns of the chairs and tables that all of the dialogue and the story in that song went for nothing, because you're watching the visuals of these chairs and tables being endlessly moved around and around and around. And I just wanted it sort of stripped back and played for the dialogue and for the singing.
A little bit less.
and less for the movement
Yes,
that was going on in too much of a confined space. But maybe I'm sort of picking holes in what was an excellent production all round.
Whetted my appetite massively there.
Well, you've sold it well to Julie. I've got to be honest.
I'm now really excited to see it. Gosh, I can't wait.
But I have to say, the overriding thing was that for the role reversal, the gender reversal, it works so well. And of course, Stephen Sondheim had input into this, so it wasn't something that was done without his blessing. It had his blessing and his involvement in bringing it to the stage.
Yeah.
Well, nice to get your take on it when you go.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to hearing what you
I
think.
can't wait to go now. Gosh, it's really, really whetted my appetite.
Yeah.
So, coming up to the end of our podcast for this session, let's talk about some of the shows, amateur-wise, that's coming up in our area.
Yes, there's a fair number of shows coming up. We're sort of hitting show season, spring season. And coming up in the next couple of weeks or so, Belmont Theatre Company at the Pump House Theatre in Watford are putting on Bothered and Bewildered, and that runs from the 27th of February. Welwyn Garden City Youth Drama Festival is on at the Barn Theatre from the 4th of March. From the 5th of March, Barnum opens at the Radlett Centre, and that's Radlett Musical Theatre Company, playing the same week at the Hertford Theatre, where Operatic Society present My Fair Lady, and a slightly different take because it's being set in the 1930s.
Interesting.
Kings Langley Players at the Kings Langley Community Centre are putting on the play Who is Theo? That's one I don't know.
No, I don't know. Who's that by? We don't know, do we?
No, I'm not sure.
No.
And then on Sunday the 10th of March, there's the monthly off-Broadway open mic cabaret evening at the Williots Theatre in Potters Bar. Then the following week, we've got the actress...
Sorry, before you go on to the following week, can I just add that at the Elgiva in Chesham, they've got Drowsy Chaperone.
Drowsy Chaperone, what a great show that is.
That's
what a great
fantastic
theatre.
show. Yeah, it's a good theatre. It's a nice theatre.
From the 9th to the 16th of March, we've got the actress, and that's Abbots Langley Players, putting that on at the Henderson Hub in Abbots Langley. And then from the 13th of March, St Albans Chamber Opera are presenting Ruddigore at the Abbey Theatre, St Albans.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
So there we are. They're the shows that are coming up. If you want to get involved in our podcast, then do get in touch. It's curtaincallfm@gmail.com, or you can visit our website, www.curtaincallfm.uk, and the station will be officially launching on the 23rd of April.
St George's Day.
I think that's the best way to do it. Alistair, Julia, thank you so much for your company.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
for
you.
tuning in, and do tune in again. And if you want to listen to it, do tell your friends about our podcasts, and do check out our website. It's www.curtaincallfm.uk. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
Online and on the app, you're listening to Curtain Call FM.